Today I'm going to show you how I start my vegetable seeds indoors under grow lights. Hey, I'm Nadia at Embracing Harvest. If you want to eat local and seasonal food, then subscribe to this channel. If you're starting your own vegetable plants from seed, or it's something that you just want to learn more about, then this video is perfect for you. My indoor seed starting setup is actually all under grow lights. I choose to use grow lights versus a sunny window for a couple of reasons. For one, I don't have a sunny enough window in this house. If you have a really sunny window, then that might be all right for you. I don't have a good southern facing window. And I also have way too many plants for just a windowsill. Another reason why I like to use the indoor light setup that I'm going to show you is because I have full control over it. I can get way more light onto these plants than I would have been able to had I just been relying on the sun alone. If there's an overcast day, if it's just not as sunny as I would have hoped, those are all factors that can lead to things like leggy plants. And really, one of the things that I've learned over the years, the health of the plant when it is in this infancy phase is so critical. If your plant is struggling right at the beginning, it takes so much effort to try to bring that health back and to create a really strong, healthy plant later on. So if you have maybe a smaller garden and you have a really sunny window, south-facing window, then maybe you don't need an indoor grow station like I have. But if you have a lot of plants or if you don't have a sunny window, then this might give you some ideas on what you can use for your own seed starting setup. So this is what I use. There's a metal shelf, and I got all of this stuff really from Home Depot. Totally no affiliation. I've had this set up for, I don't know, 3-4 years maybe. I have shop lights hanging down. Each light has 4 bulbs, and I'm using LED bulbs so they don't get hot, which is great. They last, I think it says it lasts 13 years or something like that per bulb. And they help with your energy bills, which is huge because you are keeping your lights on when you have an indoor setup for a long time each day. I like to use 12 to 14 hours a day on and then the balance off. And I use a remote like this that actually turns them on and off each day. There's absolutely no way that I would be able to remember every single morning and every single night, especially if I have it on for so long. I'm not always home. I'm not, sometimes I'm in bed when they turn off. So these remotes are really, really helpful. And I actually use the same remote outside. So I'm actually getting double the value of this because I'm using it indoors and outdoors. So that's really cool. On top of the lights, I've attached these metal chains. And to those chains, I have added S-hooks. And this is actually pretty cool because what it allows me to do is to raise and lower the lights as per my plant's requirements at that phase in their growing cycle. So assuming my plant doesn't need to be germinated in darkness, I usually put my lights on from the beginning just because if anything sprouts, then I'm giving it light right away. If it needs darkness, that's a totally different story. Assuming my plants need light, I put the light right above the soil. So like I'm talking an inch, maybe 2 inches above the soil, as low as I can get without touching it, of course. And give it a little bit of room in case you don't catch it right away and it sprouts and you don't want it to actually hit the light. You don't want the plant to hit the light at any point. But I like to put it right above the soil so it gets tons and tons of light as soon as that sprout comes out of the soil, which is exactly what we want. And then as the plant grows, what I do is I raise the light up and up and up, and these S-hooks make it so easy to do that. And I just use these metal bars on the shelf itself to move the S-hooks up one more row. So whatever shelving unit you get, just make sure that you have one that you can hook it onto and that you can move it up and down. So that's really critical. And as far as starting the seeds themselves, I'll show you what I use to do that as well. I have all my trays, and I use these smaller cell trays mainly because I start a lot of seeds. If you just start a few, then you might just want to start right at the pot. For tomatoes, even for me, I typically skip the smaller cells and I jump right into the pot because they grow so fast for me. I don't know why tomatoes grow so fast, and peppers grow so slow. So peppers are perfect for the smaller cells, and tomatoes, I usually just start them in the larger pots. I have flats underneath to catch the water, so when I'm watering, if any drips or if any comes out the bottom of the pot or the tray, then it catches somewhere and it doesn't ruin my lights and ruin my floor. I have my soil, so I use a seed starting mix. This is the one I use. Again, no affiliation with this company whatsoever. I just like them. I can find them really easily here. I like that it's organic, which is awesome. I know there are lots of YouTubers and blogs and stuff like that that tell you how to create your own seed mix. I don't. It's just not something I've ever, to be honest, really had much interest in doing, so I'm not going to show you how to do that because I've tried it myself and it just seemed like a lot of extra work and didn't really do much for me. So I'd rather just skip that hassle and just buy the seed starting mix myself. My plant markers, I made the mistake, and when I was starting I used to just use markers or pens or pencils, and it would either fade in the sunlight by the middle of the season or it would just run off in the rain. And yeah, I can tell that, you know, a tomato's a tomato, but I tend to grow like 10 different types of tomatoes. And I don't always remember which one's which, especially because I love to experiment in the garden. So oftentimes I'm growing new varieties and I don't know which tomato's which until I can actually see it and taste it. And, you know, until then, I don't want to wait until that point. So, you know, I like to label every single thing in the garden. And then of course my seeds, and I keep them in these, just these like bamboo containers. Seems to be what's working for me. I'm still on the hunt for a really nice solution for these. I like to keep my area pretty neat and tidy, but this seems to be doing the trick for now. I'm gonna keep looking for something else that I really like that is aesthetically pleasing as well. You can buy setups like this, and I actually took the inspiration for this from, I think it was from Johnny's Seed Company. So I'll put a link to the one that I found down below. So if you don't want to make your own, you can certainly buy these. They're quite pricey, but you can absolutely buy these if you're not into DIY. I'm not into DIYing everything. So this is how I start my seeds indoors. I also like to, of course, start my plants outside. So if you are interested in seeing how I do that, then you'll want to stay tuned for my next video, or it might be 2 videos from now, on how I start my seeds outdoors, and I actually do it in the winter here in Canada. So if that interests you, then you'll want to stick around and subscribe so that you can get that next video. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that like button so that I know that this is something that I should do more of. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel for more information on eating local and seasonal food year-round. And I will see you next time.